Amazing. Hi, everyone, and welcome to your talk here with L'Oreal. We just want to apologise, first of all, that we are a few minutes late starting this talk. There's actually a few technical issues behind the scenes, so hopefully we can catch up quite quickly. So first of all, I want to do a few introductions on who's actually speaking with you today. But please, guys, we do have a chat box there, so please do feel free to write in any questions that you might have. So first of all, I'm Sarah. I'm the talent partner for early careers and employer branding at L'Oreal. So I manage all the recruitment side with hiring all interns, graduates and apprentices. So I'm just going to go around my little boxes. So Ben, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, so I'm Ben. I'm a national account executive. So I've just finished the grad scheme about a year ago from now. And I'll be talking through my experiences a little bit later on. But I'm in the commercial team now, looking after the Super Free account.
Farah? You're muted.
Sorry. So hi everybody, I'm Faria. I'm currently on my industrial placement with L'Oreal. I'm the DI intern, and again, I'll be talking you guys through a little bit about what I do later.
And Rebecca.
Yeah, so I'm Becca and I'm a sustainability intern at L'Oreal. So again, I'm on an industrial placement year and I'll talk you through that later as well.
Okay, perfect. So I am going to share with you our presentation today. So hopefully you'll all be able to see my screen in a few moments. Okay, so any issues, just flag one of the guys and they'll let me know if you're unable to see the screen for whatever reason. But facilitators, can you see my screen?
Yes, yep, all good, we've got that.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. If any of the people put in the chat box, I can see the chat box, so let me know, okay? Perfect. So first of all, I said, welcome to L'Oreal. So as you see that we've displayed proudly here, that we are the best employer for Rate My Placement 2022 to 2023, which is obviously a massive achievement for us. This is actually voted by ex-interns, which is obviously, so our ex-summer and our ex-year-long interns have actually voted us best student employer. And hopefully by the end of today, you'll know why. So a little bit about our performance. So I'm not going to read these all out. I'm just going to pinpoint a few of the most important ones for you to realise is that we have got a net result of 32.28 billion euros. And this is throughout 2021. We have got over 85,000 employees across 150 countries. So we really are a worldwide company. A few other things that I think are really important to point out is that we have got a like-for-like sales growth of 8.8%, and we are constantly growing on that year on year, even post-pandemic. And we also have 35 brands, which will probably surprise you. It did me when I first started, and I'll show you what the brands are in a minute. And also something that I'll talk a little bit more about is our research centres, how we have 20 research centres across the world. So as I said, our brand here, we'll leave this on the screen just a little second for you guys to have a look. Please do obviously take photos as well, take screenshots, whatever you find interesting. So we have got a wide range, and some of these are within hair care, some of these are within kind of makeup, skincare, or fragrances. And yes, you do get discount on all these brands from the staff shop when you work for L'Oreal. And there's definitely a few of my favorites when I first started that I was super excited about working with and being a part of and really making a difference to the brand. So as I said, we have our 4 different divisions, and it's split between luxe, consumer products, active cosmetics, and professional products. And basically what this means is you've got your L'Oreal Luxe, which is our higher price point. So these are your YSL, Armani, Lancome, and this does bring in the most sales at 38.2%. Next is consumer products. So this is your Maybelline, your NYX, your L'Oreal Paris, which brings in 37.9%. Active cosmetics is actually more what dermatologists would recommend, anything skincare related. CeraVe, La Roche-Posay at 12.2%. And finally, our professional products, which is all of our hair care range. So Kerastase, L'Oreal Professional, and that comes in at 11.7%. So that just kind of gives you a bit of a rundown of where our sales go mostly. So having a look overall, sun skincare and sun protection actually took up 40.2%. So especially, you might have said before, obviously Luxe took up more sales. That's because a lot of the skincare within the Luxe range really kicked off, especially kind of post-pandemic, where everyone was at home. People didn't tend to spend so much money on makeup. It's a lot more about their actual skincare and that protection, especially over the summer months, how we know how important it is to look after your skin. Makeup at 20.5%, hair care at 15.1%, fragrances at 10.2%, and then coming at the end is hair colouring at 9.3%, which is actually how L'Oreal started. We started because our creator actually created hair colour in a bathtub. So if you are someone that colours your hair, you have got L'Oreal to thank for that. So I'm going to quickly run through 5 surprising things about L'Oreal. There's a couple of things in here that I'm going to brush over quite quickly because the guys will go into more detail in their part of the presentation. But first of all, we are really jumping into the world of tech. And we generally believe that in order to move forward with the ever-changing world, tech is really the way to do this. And it's all to make it a lot more personalized when it comes to beauty and to make it a lot more inclusive. So a lot of things we do, especially with dermatologists, is actually where we can scan your skin and see what is the best treatment for you. Or might be if you've gone to a shop and got colour matched using some of our technology from Lancome. They do this to really make sure that you have got the best retail experience when you're going and purchasing your products, but you're actually getting what's right for you as well, which is the most important thing when it comes to our customer care. So as I said before, beauty is really innovation in the sense that we have got 20 research centres worldwide. So all of our research and innovation is all in-house at L'Oreal. So we don't get other people to do it. It's all within our teams. So we do over 500 patent files every year, which just shows how much we are changing, how much we are adapting to what the current markets need and worldwide. What we need here is very different to what they'd need in China, which is very different to what they'd need necessarily in India. So we really work with the different cultures, with the different companies within L'Oreal to understand what is needed for that market. And we do have over 4,000 R&I experts within those 20 research centres. So it is a real big focus for us moving forward. So for us as well, sustainability is massive. I don't want to talk too much about this because Rebecca is definitely the expert here. However, we are really pushing for sustainability like most companies are at the moment, because for us, our planet is the most important thing. So as you can see, 67% recycled plastic in 2021. And we want to have 100% recycled industrial water in our plants by 2030 and carbon neutrality across all our sites by 2025, which is actually what we're doing. Those of you that are looking to come and work with us in September next year, we're actually moving to a carbon neutral office. So we're currently in Hammersmith. For those of you that have done your research, we will be moving to White City, so a stunning new office. So definitely worth having a little look into what we're going to do there. I wish I could show you photos. Unfortunately, I can't. It's still very hush-hush from us, but we can share that it's a very exciting movement. So for us, beauty is completely genderless. Now, I just want to add on to this as well. When you do your application for us, just so you know, you are CV blind, you are application blind, okay? So when you do your application, we do ask you for details of yourself. So we'll say male, female, preferred not to say, for example. This doesn't define you in any way, just to make it clear, because actually no one sees that until the very last point, okay? So what I mean by that is, and I'm going to go into this a bit more detail later on when I talk about the application process, we can't see actually, managers can't see what gender you are. So also, we are really trying to make it a 50-50 split across the company. So you can see that 45% of key positions are held by men in 2021. We have this misconception that you have to enjoy makeup to work in makeup. And it's something that like I said, it's a proper misconception within the beauty world, and that actually a lot of males don't tend to approach it because they feel like this is the truth, but actually we'd like to make it 50-50 cross. And 59% of our international brands have got female managing directors, so we are really supporting females in senior leader roles. So lastly, once again, around diversity, I'm going to brush over this because I don't want to step on Faria's toes here with her part of the presentation, but we do create products for people, and it's across all walks of life. So as I said earlier, with our different divisions, we have the different price points that everyone can enjoy our products. And 100% of our brands are committed to diversity, equality, and inclusion. And this is everything from your skin type to your skin shade. We try and cover all of it with all of our products. So most important part of today is I want you to actually hear from the people that have gone through the application process and our early career success stories to date. So first, I'm going to pass over to Ben, who has actually gone through the whole process himself. So Ben, do you want to take over?
Cool, thanks, Sarah. So guys, firstly, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and either answer them now or come back to them later. But this is me, and this is my career path so far. So started off in similar position to you guys at university in Swansea, about 4 or 5 years ago from now. And my degree background's in engineering, so not the typical background for anyone at L'Oreal. But it just shows that your degree background isn't necessarily kind of what defines your future career path. And a lot of the bits on here are the skills developed in each stage of my career so far. So you can see on the left there, degree in chemical engineering allowed me to develop a lot more of my data analysis skills, problem solving, and attention to detail, which is incredibly useful going through the graduate program and then in the role that I'm in now. And then you can see color coded there, I've got 3 different rotations on the commercial MT program. So as a grad, you rotate every 6 months around the business, and that moves you around different functions, around different divisions. So Sarah mentioned earlier, we've got 4 divisions within L'Oreal. So I started within the consumer products division in the business development team. And that's rotation 1 there in green, which shows that it's a commercial role. I then moved to Yves Saint Laurent in the luxury division in a marketing rotation. So orange, which would be my off-stream rotation. So it's a very good bit of the grad scheme that you can go and try different areas of the business. And for myself, coming in as an engineer, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. So it was good to kind of open my eyes to the world of L'Oreal and the different teams that are available. And then my final rotation in the Superdrug team, which, as you can see at the top there, is where I went operational and stayed within the same team, just taking on a little bit more responsibility. And then through here, kind of different skills developed, which is, again, the focus of the grad scheme is to just bridge any gaps in your development. So this is my individual path, but each different grad will go through different things, and the rotations that they go on will be purely to kind of close those gaps in knowledge, which is why I then went through marketing and commercial as my 3 rotations. And then at the bottom, I've then just got a few key deliverables. So the kind of things that I was working on in each rotation. The first being range analysis and a lot of reporting for the business development team. So we worked directly with retailers. I was on the Boots makeup account, advising them on what to do with their range, which brands to push or pull back on. And then I was actually working with our Paris team in the YSL rotation. So a lot of the launch briefings, signing off claims to be used in advertising. And then my final 2 in the Superdrug team is more a lot on activation in stores with Superdrug, working with them on profit enhancement plans and commercial proposals. But that's quite a quick summary. I've seen a few messages come through the chat, which I'll come back on afterwards.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we'll come back to the questions once we've finished the presentation. Okay, thank you, Ben. So I'm going to pass over now to Farah, who's going to talk to you a bit about being a D&I intern, which I'm sure is actually a really interesting concept for some of you watching today. So I know it's not something that you see in a lot of companies. So over to you.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for that, Ben, as well. So, hi everybody, my name is Faria. I am currently on my industrial placement, as I mentioned, with L'Oreal. I am the DEI intern within HR. So I started this role about 4 months ago, but I'll let you guys know a little bit about my application process and my background. Similar to Ben, I am also an engineering student. So I go to Queen Mary University, where I study design engineering. In terms of how I found out about the role, I was actually reached out to on a website called Handshake. I don't know if many of you are on Handshake, but it's essentially a job portal for students. And the person who became my manager, she reached out to me on Handshake, just letting me know about the role and if it seemed like something I was interested in. I had a look at the L'Oreal Careers website where I found a bit more, and it did look like something quite interesting to me. Because it didn't have a direct correlation with my degree, the mindset I had going into applying was, it's such a huge opportunity. L'Oreal is such a big global company, so what could go wrong if I apply and see where it takes me? So I did apply, and then I ended up getting an interview. With the interview, I really used that as an opportunity to find out more about the company. They were finding out about me, but I used it as an opportunity to ask as many questions as possible, anything I wanted to find out about L'Oreal. And I was being interviewed by the DI director, and me and her just essentially hit it off because of both of our passion for creating positive change in a company. So for those of you who don't know, DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion. My job, essentially, I work with the DEI director and I enforce all of the DEI initiatives and programs across the company. My function sits in HR, but I have lots of touch points across the whole business. I work with loads of different functions, loads of different people. So this has been great for my personal learning and development. On the screen here, you see a few of the different projects that I do. So I'm going to run through some of them. The first thing is inclusive recruitment. So with this, I work with the talent acquisition team. This is our recruitment team. I work with them in hiring the most diverse talent possible, whether that's changing the language in our job descriptions or interview prep or where we're placing our ads. The DI team work closely with talent acquisition to make sure we're hiring and getting in people who are as diverse as possible. At the bottom there, so this is brand campaigns. Sarah mentioned that we have 36 brands under L'Oreal. When it comes to them creating campaigns or working with influencers, the DEI team lean in a lot when it comes to being as authentic as possible. We have a commitment to be as diverse as the people that we serve. So when it comes to our campaigns, we want the most authentic voices and most diverse voices. The DEI team really help in creating those. When I started my internship, L'Oreal Paris Makeup, they were launching a True Match campaign. So I was involved in a lot of the process of rolling this campaign out, which was really exciting. And then at the top here is our employee resource group. So the brand campaigns is a very external part of the job, external facing, whereas a lot of my job is focused internally for our employees. Our employee resource groups are essentially groups for people from certain communities, just to make everyone feel like they belong. Some examples are on the screen. So we have mental health and well-being, our LGBTQ plus group, our ethnicity group. And my job essentially is to manage these. So this is just showing you how broad my role is, but what I've learned from taking the role is what I'm actually good at, what I enjoy. I think I kind of worked backwards in that sense, where I didn't know what I wanted after my degree, but after doing all of this experience, I'm really seeing that I enjoy social impact work or helping people, etc. And I'm learning that there's so many transferable skills between my degree and also this internship. So if you do have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them at the end. But that was a brief overview of a couple of things that I do.
Amazing, thank you. So last but not least, Rebecca, do you want to talk us through being a sustainability intern?
Yeah, so hi everyone, thank you Faria and Ben. So I'm Becca, I am the sustainability intern for the UK and Ireland. So my role sits in corporate, so I'm not with a brand or a division like Ben is, so similar to Faria, I have different touch points within the whole business. So before I started my internship, I was studying sociology at Lancaster University. And whenever I tell anyone that, they kind of go, how does that link to sustainability? How did you get there? And to be completely honest, I never thought sustainability would be my career path. I was very interested in it. I loved reading around it and I studied it. But I was always under the impression that if you want to go into sustainability, you need to be an economist or a scientist. But from my interest and my studying in it, I actually applied for L'Oreal on a different role. I applied for internal comms and didn't get that job, but got an email a few weeks later asking me to apply for sustainability. And I got an interview, connected with the manager, and got through like that. So in terms of how sustainability works at L'Oreal, L'Oreal for the Future is a campaign that we have that runs down all our sustainability commitments for 2023 and how we're going to get there, 2030, sorry. And it's split into 3 key pillars. So the first one is how we transform ourselves and respect planetary boundaries. So at L'Oreal, we define planetary boundaries as the things that if we cross those lines and if they're compromised, then the Earth's capacity to house humans and for us to habit the Earth is compromised. So we have a very people-focused attack point towards sustainability. We focus on people and how we can nurture the planet. So the second point is empowering our business ecosystem and helping it transform to a more sustainable world. So this is looking outside of ourselves and looking at how we interact with all the levels of our business, everyone that can contributes to L'Oreal and how we work, and seeing how can we make them as sustainable as possible. So this is empowering our consumers, working in the communities to support the work that they're doing, and working with all our suppliers to make sure that their sustainability impact and their ethics are aligned with ours. And then the third pillar is contributing to solving the challenges of the world by supporting urgent social and environmental needs. So this is all around investing money into funds and charities and people that are doing amazing work to support everyone around the world. Each of our L'Oreal brands have a brand cause, which is basically they are tied to a charity that they support through financial and social volunteering and things like that. And that kind of leads me on to the role that I play in this. I sometimes think that L'Oreal for the Future can be seen as this big, wide, 35 commitments, and it's a bit unclear how we can make an impact locally and how we're working every day to change that across the business. So just a few examples is my main role as I'm a corporate function has a lot to do with that third pillar, which is around addressing the world's problems and supporting social needs. So when I got my internship, I spoke to my manager and said, you know, my interest is in that kind of social sustainability aspect. And she was really good at getting my projects and my role tailored to my interests and my strengths and the things that I wanted to build a career around. So I have the responsibility of overseeing the charity engagement that happens in the UK. So that's working closely with our corporate partners, which are In-Kind Direct and Look Good Feel Better, to get financial and product donations to them, as well as supporting staff in getting involved in various different charity engagement. So at L'Oreal, you have time off, not part of your annual leave, where you can volunteer with different organisations of your choice. And you can also apply for match funds if you had a fundraising event. For example, we've had quite a few employees that do marathons and events like that, and we sponsor them for the money that they've raised as well. And this kind of charity engagement things goes hand in hand with that first pillar of creating that circular economy and looking at what we're putting out into the world. So a lot of the work that we do with charities and a lot of the work that I do is setting up those pathways to reuse and recycle unwanted items from the office and things like that. And as Sarah mentioned earlier, we are having a big move to a carbon neutral office, and one of my roles in that move is making sure that all the furniture that we have in the current office is either taken with us and reused and upcycled, or it is donated to different charity partners and charities across the UK that need it more than us. And then one of my also important roles is upskilling and communicating on sustainability. So I do a lot of work with the learning team and getting projects where staff can come and have training days. So at the start of this month, we had a pilot week where we brought staff from all different functions from across the business to learn about sustainability and then how they can embed it in their everyday and make sure that we're making sustainability everyone's business. And then, as I said, I'm in corporate, so I don't have a strict role to a division or brand, but every now and then I'll be supporting different brands when they have claims on sustainability or they have different projects that they're working on. So, for example, our professional products division, they are working with hairstylists and salons to make salons more sustainable. So they work with their salon partners to identify how they can make their salon more circular and make it net neutral. So that's called Hairstylists of the Future. And I'm sure if you Google that, there'll be lots that come up, and it's a really exciting initiative that I'm glad to be a part of. And then that is kind of my day-to-day job. And I'm happy to answer any questions in terms of like how I got the role and things like that, but I think it's quite similar to Faria's experience. And yeah, I'm happy to open the floor to questions from Sarah and the team.
Amazing. Thank you, Becca. So as I'm sure that you guys have kind of clocked on here, none of them, all Faria, Becca and Ben, all did degrees that weren't necessarily linked to what they're doing today. Which I hope kind of shows you how, like I said earlier, we are CV blind, we are application blind, and actually it's all down to you, your passions, who you are as a person when it comes to applying with L'Oreal. I'm going to quickly go through kind of our hints and tips for our assessment centres, kind of what we have available, and then we'll open the floor to your guys' questions. But I think it's really important that you guys feel completely ready to go into an assessment centre and to go into your interviews, whether it be at L'Oreal or whether it be at another company. You want to make sure that you are fully prepared. So us, just like many other companies, what you would do is you'll go online, you'll make an application. You can apply to up to 3 roles. They could be completely different positions as well. They haven't got to be in the same division, the same area. They could be completely different. You'll have some knockout questions to answer, and then you'll have the cognitive and numerical testing. So these are online tests that we'll send you. Now, there isn't a limit of time that you have to complete them. So it's not like you have to complete them within 5 working days. We just ask you to complete them ASAP because we do run rolling recruitment, okay? Also, the tests are not timed themselves. So if you are dyslexic, for example, you won't need to ask for extra time that because it's not, you don't have like a countdown clock or anything when you are completing them. So these are the points within our cognitive and numerical testing, and this is what we will be testing you on. Practice makes perfect, and I can't stress this enough. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of a company called SHL, but it's definitely worth looking them up. I can put it in the chat box as well in a minute, because they do practice questions and they're quite similar in the way that they word them. Practice, practice, practice. Make sure that you are ready before you go in and do the testing. So if you pass your test, you'll then be invited for interview. If you're going for a graduate role, you would do a group exercise first, and then you'll do a case study interview. However, if you're going for a placement opportunity, you'll just do the case study and interview. So the case study is actually designed around a work-related scenario that you may be a part of. So the marketing case study would be different to the HR case study, for example. And it's a really great opportunity for you to understand what you might be doing in the role if you were offered. So we just put up there a few of our top tips. I'm not going to read this all out to you. Like I said, guys, please feel free to take pictures if you want to, that you can come back to. But it's really just thinking about how you structure your presentation. So the most important thing I will say to you is think about the amount of time you've been given. If you're given a week to do a presentation, they really ask you to go into detail on what it is that you're about to present back. They're giving you a week for a reason. They want you to really deep dive. They want you to really come out and really make it specific to what they're asking, make the slides look attractive, get some pictures involved, really think about that. However, if you're just given an hour before the case study, which happens sometimes, most of our grad ones will be an hour before, they don't want you to make it look pretty. They don't want you to add loads of pictures. They just want to know the information. So really think about the amount of time you've got. Also, just simple things like make sure you're clear on your structure, make sure that you have an introduction to every presentation you do, and make sure that you conclude every presentation too. For your interviews, these will be competency-based interviews that you have with L'Oreal, and I'm sure you have with a lot of other companies. One thing I really want to stress that you know your CV. I've said it a million times and I'll say it again, we're CV blind. That basically means the managers do not see your CV at all. So even when you get to interview stage, they don't have your CV in front of them. They're just meeting you. So go through your CV, talk about your experiences, talk about your degree and what you're doing, talk about extracurricular, really know it inside out. A few of our key topics would be around work experience, your achievements, teamwork, influencing others, and the ability to work under pressure. So really take those topics away with you and start thinking about examples of when you've achieved that, when you've shown that. The STARE method is one of the best things you can do when it comes to an interview, and please do Google it if you haven't already. It's all around being a storyteller. So to every single answer, you introduce the answer, you talk about the situation, you talk about what's happened, you conclude it, and you talk about what you've gained out of it. Also, try and relate it to the role as well. So you could always answer a question and say, I would do this in L'Oreal by ... So really Google it's called the STAR method. We add on evaluation E at the end. It's called the STAR method. Google it and really get to grips with it. And please ask questions at the end. This is really important as well, just because we want you to be curious. We want you to really be intrigued in what it's like to work for us at L'Oreal. So some simple tips for you about before and during your virtual interviews. Most of yours will be virtual. Just make sure you've got yourself good lighting. Make sure you look smart, at least on the top half, and make sure you've done your company's research. Also during, you can obviously have notes. There's nothing stopping you from having notes. My recommendation would be to have notes on sticky pads on your laptop. I've actually got like see-through ones, which are really good. Because then that way you're still looking at your laptop, you're looking at the camera, you're not looking down, you're not looking to the side, out the window, whatever. You're looking straight at the laptop. And please take notes and ask relevant questions where needs be. Once again, we want you to be curious. And if you guys are doing an in-person assessment centre, in-person interview, I know that because pandemic, a lot of you probably haven't experienced it in person before. Just a few tips from us here at L'Oreal. Think about how many bags you're taking with you. Seems like a weird one, I know. But a lot of time, if you're sat in the waiting room and you're stressed and you're probably like a little bit nervous, if you have too many bags with you, you can look a little bit messy. So just think about what you're taking with you. Body language, don't sit on your phone in the reception. Plan your journey times for getting them back, especially with the train strikes. If you're going into London, just be really aware of what's going on around you. And feel free to find your interviewer on LinkedIn too. See what they've done with their career. And once again, as I said already, questions, ask them at the end. Body language, stay calm, talk slow, and feel free to ask for a few seconds before you answer the question. Repeat the question back to yourself and then answer it. And then you can really have time to understand it. A really quick overview of what we have available just before we go into questions, because I'm sure you guys are intrigued about what we have to offer. So we have 35 graduate roles, and as Ben said, they are 18-month rotational schemes within marketing, commercial and supply chain. Finance is actually a 12-month scheme, okay? So marketing, commercial, supply chain, you'll do 3-6 months in different areas of the business. Finance, you do just stay in finance, or you'll do 2 6-month rotations within finance. And obviously for final year students, we've got our industrial placements. So we have actually 125 this year. So it's 12 months across pretty much everywhere. We have so many different programs for you. So please do have a look on our website and see what's best suited. Like I said, if you're not sure, you can go and apply for 3. Do marketing, you could do sustainability, and then you could apply for an IT one. It's just so varied. We do have Virtual Spring Week, which is just a 1-week insight scheme. These don't go live until the new year, though. So if this is something you're interested in, please look at our website in the new year, and that's suitable just for first year undergrads. And then finally, we have 25 summer interns, which once again will go live in the new year. And these are for 10 weeks starting in July. So you start alongside the year-long placement students and the grads, but it's just for the 10 weeks, and it's suitable for any undergrad that's interested. So our graduate and our year-long placement schemes are now open, okay? And we do run rolling recruitment. So please, if you are interested, apply ASAP. And another thing just for you to take note of is our closing dates. So our grad schemes close very shortly, 9th December, and then these are closing dates for the other placements. I'm going to leave that there a few seconds so you can make a note if you wish. But I will jump off my screen now. Oh. Okay, amazing. So thank you everyone for listening to us. I think we've got a few questions in the chat box. So
I've gone through, do you want to go, Sarah? I've gone through kind of like in order. I've made a couple of notes.
yeah.
One of them was MBAs and kind of MBA opportunities at L'Oreal. Do we know if we have any of those?
No, so obviously if you are like a master's student, you can always apply for our grad schemes, but we have nothing specifically for MBA students in particular.
And then there was a question for me on skills, I think. Yeah, so how did I go about finding the skills that could be transferred into the role? I'll take that as the role I'm currently in now. So the way the grad scheme works is we have reviews at the halfway point of each rotation and the end of each rotation. So joining L'Oreal, I had kind of like your basic soft skills from university, and then throughout your rotations, you get reviewed with your manager and a HR sponsor that you go through each different skills that relate to the L'Oreal competencies, and then they identify ones that you're strong at and ones that you're less strong. And then in the ones where you need to develop a little bit more, that will shape the rest of the rotations. So for me, marketing was one that I wasn't really as strong at, hence why I then did marketing as my second rotation. So it's a lot on the rotations throughout the scheme is where you develop the skills, and that's how you find them is through the reviews with your manager and HR at the midpoint and then the end of every rotation. And then a question for interns. I made a note of an intern question. Day-to-day responsibilities. I don't know if Rebecca or Faria, you want to jump in on that one.
Is that the question about everyday deadlines? Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was just going to jump in on that question that you just answered as well about transferable skills.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So in my internship, it was very much learn as you go along. So you just got thrown into the work, and we were learning as we go along. But while I was doing my internship, I found that a lot of the skills I was using was critical thinking and creative problem solving and user-centered thinking, things like that, which is essentially what I learned in my engineering degree. So there were loads of transferable skills just coming as I was working. The question about deadline, yes, this one, everyday tasks and deadlines. For my internship, I think it'd be similar to Becca's, but every day is kind of different. So I have these projects I showed you, they're very much ongoing, and I work with teams regularly to meet these deadlines. If it's presentations, for example, I'm delivering, then there would be a hard deadline, but other than that, the tasks vary. So there's not like, I basically don't do the same thing every day.
Yeah, mine is pretty much the same as Faria's. So a lot of the work that I do is project based. So my deadlines are, when that project is done, and a lot of them don't have strict deadlines. They're rolling, and they're projects that will be rolled out to the entire company. So they're ongoing. And day to day is really different from week to week. Like at the start of this week, I had a week where I was not sat at a desk once, and I was visiting like recycling centres and all that type of thing. And then this week I've been sat at a desk writing presentations and writing up policy. So it really just depends what is happening at the time, which I think is something really good about being in like a corporate role and being even just on an internship at L'Oreal, is you really are learning something new no matter what project you're on.
Cool. And then there was another question. Sorry, were you going to say something, Sarah?
So I've just seen a lot of questions. I've seen a few about international students. So I just want to jump on that really quickly. We don't offer a sponsorship for any of our early careers programs, I'm afraid. So if you are if you're international, but you're studying in a UK university, then obviously you can apply for a placement with us. However, you do need to have full eligibility and right to work in the UK in order to apply for any of our schemes. Okay, so
Cool.
back to you, Ben.
Yeah, so the question for me on here about expanding on deliverables for data reporting. So a lot of the commercial and marketing roles rely on data reporting as kind of like a basic for the role. So my first rotation, it was a lot on market shares, performance, growth, which brands were driving, like total category, and then in my marketing role, it was more sales data for individual products. Like when we did a launch, was it meeting forecasts? Like what were the best performing shades of makeup, for example? And then now it's very much about sales in store and what a launch could deliver for the account, and then also profitability. So looking at what we spend versus what we sell. So a lot of data reporting. And then the second follow-up question was the software used. So majority of the analysis is done in Excel, but we also have different softwares like Power BI, Nielsen, which is a software application which we pull the total sales data for. But a lot of that will be taught in various training programs throughout the grad scheme and in internships. So nothing to worry about before joining L'Oreal, but there's plenty of training schemes on offer when you do get here that will teach you all the different tools.
Quick one. I see a lot of messages, people asking about opportunities. Guys, I'm going to put a link for our careers website, and I filtered it for interns and graduates and United Kingdom. So I'm going to put it into the chat box now. But for anyone saying what degree you're studying, do we have any opportunities? Sorry if you kind of missed what we said before, but we have opportunities for anyone doing any kind of degree. So just have a look through what interests you. You don't have to be doing anything that's related to your degree, as these guys have proven, as they've all done degrees not related to what they're doing. So if you kind of look through a role and you think, I'm really interested in this, but it's nothing to do with my degree, still apply. Because at the end of the day, it's down to you, your passions, your interests, rather than what you're doing at university. I'm just going to put this, hopefully this link works, has all my filters in it. So give that a click and see if that works through. But yeah, please don't avoid applying just because, let's say you're interested let's say you're interested in sustainability, like Becca's role, but you're doing something completely different. It really does not matter. If you think, I've got such a passion for sustainability, and what Rebecca does sounds really interesting, I'd love to be a part of that. It doesn't matter what you're doing, guys. Please feel free to apply. Just bring your passion with your interview.
Cool. The link does work there as well, Sarah. I've just gone through and it's got the ones available. There was another question, and I think you touched on it before, about applying to multiple schemes. Mm-hmm. And let me find what the actual question is. Something about, will it hinder your chances if you apply to multiple? I think the answer is no, but
no, of course not.
Cool.
So I think both Farah and Rebecca, I think you guys both applied for other positions, didn't you, in your process?
I did, yeah. I actually applied for 2 different roles and didn't get either of those and ended up on a completely different one. So And I'm very glad that happened. So
yeah. Everything happens for a reason. So the way it works is, like I said, you can apply for up to 3. Now, as a talent partner, I'll review the 3 that you've applied for, and we kind of make a recommendation on where we feel like you'd be best suited. And we do also have those conversations with you. So Rebecca said, if you don't get that first role that you've applied for, you still have that opportunity for going forward for another position. So if anything, it can work in your favor, because then you've been seen. And managers talk, right? So if a manager sees you and they think that you are really good for the company, just not right for that particular role, that's when they come to me and my team, and we look at where else we could potentially place you in the business.
There's a couple of questions on going back to various slides. So the deck will be circulated, I think, afterwards, if not the recording will, so you can go through and find the different points we were on those slides. There's a few on R&D, graduate internships, summer internships. I don't think we offer that, do we?
No, we don't. That's all done in Paris. So anything R&D related is all done in Paris. And we only deal with UKI applications here. Unfortunately, we don't have any connection to the guys internationally. But yeah, anything R&D is all done in France.
Cool. And then there was one question. Do you have any advice for completing the questions at the very first stage of the application process? Was that covered in one of the slides, Sarah, I think?
I'll go through both parts, because I'm not too sure which that one covers. We do have knockout questions at the beginning of your application process. And these are just questions just saying, are you currently studying for a degree? So are you able to do a 12-month placement, yes or no? It's just so then we get the right people kind of go through. And then the cognitive testing afterwards that you do. My main advice for this is just do a little bit of research. So if I put into the chat here, SHL there, Google them, okay? Because our testing is similar to how they do their testing. And they do so many practice questions on the website. So you can go onto their website and do practice until you fully understand how it's worded. I gave it a go once, and I've got to be honest, I was a bit like, oh, I don't know how to answer this question. And it's because I've never done a question that's worded in a particular way. So have a little look through that. And that would be my main bit of advice, is just practice until you are so confident with it. I've just seen a question about office working. So we do hybrid working. So we do ask that our employees are in the business 3 days a week, and then you can work from home 2 days a week. A lot of our interns tend to come into the office most days just because of their working environments at home. But you're not forced to, as long as you're in 3 days a week. And obviously we do support flexibility. We are massive on flexible working here. So it'd be down to your relationship with your manager to organise when you'd be in. But I don't know about the other guys on the talk here, but I choose what days I go in depending on my diary.
Yeah, mine's very much the same. It's kind of, if I've got meetings that I want to be in person for, then I'll be in the office. And
yeah, exactly.
Sometimes if there's calls that I'd rather do in the office, or even sometimes the flexibility of kind of social plans outside of work. If I need to be at home on a certain day, then I'll plan my diary around that. So yeah, it's very flexible as long as you do your 3 days. So
yeah,
it's good.
And we also have lots of really cool events going on as well. In the office, we had Dr. Alex, who was originally from Love Island. He actually came in last week and did a mental health talk. So there's a lot of people there. We have, if there's like an anniversary for a certain product, we'll always have like a little party going on in the office. It's, there's always a lot of events happening in and around the offices. Also, just to mention, I think I touched on it in my presentation, but just to repeat it, all of our grad roles start in Hammersmith. You do have the opportunity to do a rotation in one of our other locations, which is either Nottingham or Manchester for kind of within the UK. There are distribution centres. If you do supply chain, you'll definitely go to one of those. And we also have offices in Dublin. And we do actually have a couple of year-long placement opportunities up in Manchester and in Dublin available for July. So if you are in those locations, please do have a look as well on the website. We'll have those available.
There was one more. I just clocked a question earlier about where is it now? Development into senior roles after the graduate scheme. So definitely plenty of opportunities. There's a lot of people in the business, and they're called L'Oreal babies, who have been at L'Oreal since their internship or graduate scheme, and are now in senior leadership positions. So the current Garnier GM was once a grad, which is really good to see for people like myself on the grad scheme that have gone through. And there's good HR support as well. So there's sessions in currently for my division anyway, where we talk to different HR contacts in the business, and I'm very clear in kind of like my 3 to 5 year plan for where I want to get to, and they're very clear with kind of what I need to do to get there. So there's a lot of support, and there's a lot of examples in the senior roles currently that have been through the graduate scheme.
I see a few questions about start dates. Majority, all of our intern roles, summer or year long, all start in July. Most of our graduate roles start in July, but we do have a few that start in January. Also, just to make you aware, a lot of we kind of do 50-50 on our graduate roles with ex-interns and external recruitment. So we have a thing called Talent Track. And Talent Track is basically, if you're an intern, whether it's a summer intern or year-long intern, you can do an internal process to apply for one of our graduate opportunities for the following year for when you graduate. But to make it fair, we do half of it internal, half of it external. But it's always quite a nice incentive for our interns when they come into the business, and then their managers recommend them for the graduate scheme the year after. Okay. Just having a little look. Yes, you can apply for if you can apply for grad schemes if you finish your studies summer 2023. That's absolutely fine, because we will start in the summer. So as you graduate, we'll start you on there. I see a few things about tips for standing out. Like I said, you just got to be yourself. And I know it's such a cliche thing for recruiters to say. It is purely a personality thing. I think for us, we want people that can really come in and can make a difference. That's really important. And for us, it's all about innovation. So if you come with some really cool ideas or some really cool projects that you've done at uni, and that's kind of the best way that you can really shine and stand out against the others. Do you guys see any other questions? So we do run rolling recruitment. I've just seen a message about that. Which basically means that once we fill the role, it does close. I did obviously put up the deadlines earlier. These are kind of what we have structured at the moment, but I mean, we might fill some beforehand. However, any roles that don't get filled after the deadline, we will then extend the deadline, okay? But we do work to those. But my advice is just to apply ASAP so you don't miss out. And our grad schemes, the closing date's the 9th of December, so a couple of Fridays' time. And you will be starting in July. Okay, was there any other questions coming through? Don't want to miss out anyone's questions. Okay. And just to repeat, we do unfortunately not offer any kind of sponsorship. So apologies if you're looking for a sponsorship for your grad program. Okay, I'm just trying to have like a little look through, but if we've missed out your question, please do paste it in again, and we can answer quickly. anything that we have missed?
Yeah, I think there's a few people typing, so might be a few coming
Yeah.
through.
Not a problem. So while these ones are coming through, I suppose, Rebecca, Faria, do you want to kind of share with us what you'd say your best experience has been so far? So you guys are, what, 5 months in now? Almost 5 months into your role. It goes quickly, right? So what would you say has kind of been the best experience about coming to L'Oreal?
I don't mind going first. So I think one of the best things about working in L'Oreal is how many people that you meet and how many connections that you start getting, and how kind of like subtly your network of people kind of grow, and you meet so many inspiring people who have either been in the business for 20 plus years. Like my one of the people I work with has gone straight from the internship, and she's now a manager within sustainability, and these really impressive people that are really experts in their field and love what they do, and it's really inspiring. But I also think for me, on that point, the kind of trainings and learning that we've been running and seeing how many people in the business are wanting to make change and make sustainable change, and bringing all those people together and seeing how passionate they are about that has been my personal win, because that was my little baby project as well that we managed to get finished, and seeing the kind of results of that and seeing how you impact a lot of people within the business has really been my high for the year so far.
Amazing.
Yeah, I really agree with the point about how many people you meet, how many amazing people you meet. One thing I really like about the internship program is that because they take on so many every year, the company are used to having interns, they're used to having new voices, and therefore they listen to your ideas. With me specifically, anything that I am interested in, I can make myself involved in it if I think it would be good for me, and my managers are really supportive in me just getting involved in as much as I can just to help, because the whole year obviously it's a learning experience for us. So I really like how they encourage you to do that in your role and just get involved in as much as possible.
Amazing. Okay. So just quickly answer through this question. So there is a target score for cognitive testing, and that is why when I say that we're CV blind, kind of we go off the testing scores first before we kind of deep dive into your application. So there is a score, and it's a percentile, which is based off kind of previous peers of the same level that have done the testing.
And there was a question there on omnichannel retail. So it's something where we currently have that as a business-to-business model. So we'll sell to the likes of Superdrug and Boots, who have omnichannel platforms where they sell on their online site and also in stores. And then we also have in the other divisions our own D2C, so direct-to-consumer sites like YSL Beauty, Armani, which sell direct to consumers. And then we'll also have the department stores where we sell through the bricks. So it's something that we already do.
Just seeing about finishing your degree in summer 23. Can you take a year out before you apply? Yes, of course. And it would be to a graduate role. Yeah. You can't apply for an internship if you already graduated, or if you're graduating. You have to be going back to uni. So yeah, but of course you can still apply for a grad role.
On that question that just came in about you taking a year out, I actually did that. So my internship is not sandwiched in my course. I took the year out of uni, and then next year I'll be going back to graduate. So yes, you can do that.
Okay. A little bit more caught up. So Ben, the girls have already told us about what their favourite part of being part of L'Oreal is. So for someone that's gone through kind of the whole process and come out operational on the other end, what do you say your biggest learnings have been from that?
Good question. I think it's more just make sure you're like having those conversations in the office, getting in and chatting to people that you wouldn't necessarily talk to, because I think a lot of your opportunities come from just having chats over coffee or in the queue, in the canteen, for example. So it's a really good thing of like office working, where by going into the office, you have a lot more exposure to people in the business that you wouldn't normally work with. So it's just making the most of that when you're in, and all the little conversations can build up to future opportunities.
Okay, perfect. Guys, I think we are just about ready to wrap up. I'm going to leave you a few more seconds if anyone starts typing, but I think we have just about come to the end. I've flicked through most, but I think we've hit all the questions that were asked. So, wait a few more seconds. As we've already said, this has been recorded and you will have access to this, okay? So if there's anything you weren't too sure about, anything that you wanted reminding regarding the presentation, please do feel free to rewatch the presentation. It'll all be there for you. Okay, perfect. So unless anyone else has anything more to say, Ben, Becca, Faria?
All good. No, thanks for attending and for your time this afternoon.
Amazing. Thank you for your time, guys. Hope you'll see your application soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.